Ladies and gentlemen, this is NFL Talks with Ox and Fox. This is Mike King. This is the Mike King Biz Radio Network. You can follow us and catch us on the Mike RVA as well as Mike King Biz. I got the NFLers in the house with me. We got Ken Oxendine and we got Deon Fox. Ox, let's go. Tell folks who you are.
Ken Oxendine, Virginia Tech, Thomas Chester native, ninth in the country coming out as a recruit. Atlanta Falcons drafted Super Bowl 33, XFL big game at the end, all the good stuff. Box Sports Group, Box SG, connecting the dots with everybody in the community and continue to try to help our community be better.
Mr. and Mrs. Oxendine doing big things down in Chester, really doing some outstanding work, supporting the community. Hey, Deon Fox, I got a new name for me. Everybody's talking about Mr. Irrelevant. You know who Ken Oxendine is? Mr. Relevant. So when he puts up the exactly, when he put up that number 9, we know what time it is. He ain't Brock Purdy. No, he is not. He is Mr. Relevant. All right, Deon Fox, go ahead. JMU's finest.
Deon Fox, Meadowbrook High School, Chesterfield, Virginia. James Madison University. Appreciate the shout out, Mike, with that. From there, Miami Dolphins, Washington Redskins, played a little bit in Canada, came back, did the XFL the first time around back in 2000, 22 years ago. People don't realize that. That's how long ago that was. 5756 Foundation, founder and president of that. Also the president of NFL alumni here in Richmond, Virginia. Chapter was charted in 2020. So, doing things in the community, caring for our kids, caring for our community, and making sure that we're doing things we're supposed to do, to pay it forward.
One of the things about you guys are guys who made it good coming back, putting a stamp on the community. Very quickly, last week's games, Ken Oxendine, what stood out to you? Any game in particular?
Yeah, really, the San Francisco. Right now, are they the team with the way their defense is playing and the way their quarterback, Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant, how he's playing, can they make that run all the way? Because, and the biggest thing is can everyone stay healthy? The way, but defensively, it's seeming like, and then last night, they continued their move and push them forward, beating the Seahawks. So, it's I think they are the team to really keep an eye on in the Super Bowl run.
All right, so next year, whatever, they're gonna have a log jam at the QB spot for QB. Mr. Fox is saying no. They still going with the young gun and not talking Blade. No, we're not talking Purdy.
No, we're not. We're talking about that first rounder that they got. When he come back, once he's healed up, he's going right back into that spot. Garoppolo may have to go find a spot to go somewhere else, can be a starter somewhere else, and then Purdy will be number 2.
Will there be a market for Jimmy G?
I think it will be, yes, because he's proven that he can still play the game, he can be productive, and he was winning prior to getting hurt.
Yep.
So, yes.
All right, this is Ox and Fox, Ken Oxendine, Deon Fox here on ESPN Richmond. All righty, Ox, let's go. What games you got for us?
All right, last night, the game, I wanted to go with San Francisco anyways, and but nonetheless, they was Saturday today, we got the Colts versus the Vikings.
Yeah, and he just says, yeah.
Minnesota.
I keep telling
Minnesota.
you, okay, so Ken Oxendine, who you got?
Vikings all day long, and it's at Minnesota too. So yeah,
Mr. Fox,
Minnesota. I just said it. That they are the new wave of purple people eaters. They found a way to win,
and people continue to disrespect the QB, and all he does is win.
Continue to
win,
and
manage the game and win games. He finds a way.
And so, is he the ultimate game manager?
I wouldn't say the ultimate, but he's learned how to. That's why he's still around. That's why he's very productive, and that's why they're still winning games. Now the thing is, they have to win the big game.
Yeah.
Okay, all that game management means nothing if you don't get to the big game.
That now
So
that is, but it's hard. So now, you guys are young studs. You'll come from the time with me when baseball ruled. The best baseball team usually wins the World Series.
Yeah.
Football, all it is one game. I could be balling out, and next thing you know, we got the immaculate reception, and all I see is a dude running down the side, and the game, and it's over.
Game
It could be
event.
just one thing. So, do we always look at it and say, well, you know what? How can he win the one big game? Maybe the D didn't hold up that day, or special teams, the guy took it to the house. But
And
Kirk,
that football is the greatest team sport, on the planet, because you have to play, especially when you get to the playoffs. Dion, he can concur with this one. And when you get to the playoffs, you have to have all phases of the game on your side. And it's no, and especially defense. You think about the games and the Super. Every now and then you can have games that you just got outrageous scoring, but even with that, it's going to come down to a defensive stop or a defensive turnover. So, and then when you put that special teams, you got great special teams. They give you good field position, and that's what a lot of people don't say, that hidden yardage. It's such thing as hidden yards. How many yards are you getting from the punter? How far is he kicking the ball deep? How many yards in return kickoff and punt returns are your special teams getting? And then, are you protecting those pieces as well? Are you putting pressure on the punter to shank a ball and then get your offense in good field position?
one of the things, so that's a great part about having guys who played in the league. You look at it and say the hidden yardage. Everybody now knows about like the run after the catch. We've heard about that part. But when you start talking about, hidden yardage, those are things that the great part about having Ox and Fox on is insight like that right there, because I don't think the average person, we'd know when somebody punts it and he takes it to the house. That just looked like, man, that just broke their back. But like you're saying, if you get an extra 20 or 30 yards, that right there, maybe he didn't take it to the house, but that's 30 yards that you don't have to go when the offense runs out on the field.
Exactly.
it changes your play calling. If you're on offense, it changes your play calling. It's not checkers, it's chess. And each move that you make, has to be a strategic one. I've said this before on the show. Every play that they draw up on offense is designed to go the distance, and every play they draw up on defense is designed to stop them for no yards. So the thing is like you said, all 11 have to be on the same page out there and make sure that they do their job. Where they get into an issue is when one person does not do their job, and then the other side actually, takes advantage of that mistake. So, it's a game of chess, and that's why you have to understand all three aspects of the game: special teams, offense, and defense. All three can make or break you in a game.
There you go. Ken Oxen down. What we got next?
We got the Ravens and the Browns.
Ravens with the backup quarterback.
Yeah, it with the backup quarterback. And because the Browns you remember 2 weeks ago, you said they go give the reins to Deshaun too much. He threw the ball 47 times last week. When they got a running game, that's a beast. So
they got a two-headed monster there that they need to use and utilize. As a matter of fact, I think Chubb was the leading rusher in the league before Deshaun got back.
Okay, Mr. Fox, we're going to go back to your line that says it's a business decision. So we didn't took Deshaun Watson off the scrap heap. Go ahead, man. Chuck it 50 times. You got running backs right there. Is that a beast mode Russell Wilson moment once again? We going with the face and the business side of it rather than the X's and O's football.
Well, you know what? I don't think that was Deshaun that did that. That's the coach's decision that went on ahead and did that to see if he could do it. Deshaun got a year and a
Yeah.
half of rust on him. He didn't play a snap last year and then play a snap the first 2/3 of this season. And then
Yeah.
now he's out there throwing the ball like he's been out there every day, every play. And you just can't do that. They
Yep.
can't get on the same page. You got, all pro receivers with you there, and you still can't get on the same page. Go back to what's been working for you, man. Hand the ball off, let them churn it out, and then go ahead and run, and then set your pass up with the run until you get into the groove. You can't force yourself into the groove or anything. You can't. And those who try usually try to do too much, and when you do too much, that's when you make mistakes.
Is it the Browns being the Browns as an organization? And being from Philly,
Now
you
it
know
is. Now it is.
Yeah.
Now it is.
Yep.
Because you're trying to, get the butter from the duck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to squeeze the rock to get the milk out of it, but it doesn't have the milk in it yet. You you got to let Deshaun get into the groove, and I'm not saying Deshaun is washed up. I'm just saying he rusty as I don't know what. You have to let him get into the groove of the game. The same, okay, for instance, Deshaun had star quality before he got into trouble. Him getting into trouble set him on the shelf for a year and a half. Anybody that sits on the shelf that long, I don't care how good you are, you have to get that rust off you because you have not seen game time speed in a year and a half. So you can't force them back into doing something that they haven't done for a year and a half. People lose and get rust on them after a few weeks, a season and a half. So go ahead and go with the tools that you've had that have helped you get through games and win games. Your running game. You got two of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah.
Do you think that one of the reasons that they do that is because they need him to be popular, be a hit right off the bat because it was so controversial?
Of course.
When
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's no different than what Philly did with Vic. Because when Vic came back and he got a shot in Philly, Vic did what he was supposed to do inside the confines of the offense. He didn't try to do too much, didn't try to take over and make it his team and jump on top like I'm the man. No, he said, I'm going to make plays when it's time for me to make plays. Other than that, I'm going to manage the offense. Oh, okay, let me take this. Okay, let me take that. Okay, let me take this. Oh, now I can run a little bit. Okay, let me run and get down. Let me get this, let me manage, move us down the field. Deshaun, he throwing that thing like he, like he going to Hall of Fame next year.
Like he got to be a Warren Moon.
No, and he is not. He is not. He hasn't reached that level yet.
Yeah.
Already, Ken Ox and Don. Who we got next?
The Dolphins and the Bills.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, Miami fighting for that. Well, both of them, because Buffalo still ain't wrapped up the division. And then
whoever win this game is whoever win this game. Whoever win this game could clinch the AFC East. And I'm gonna tell you like this: when I played in Miami, I did not like going up north to the cold. Boy, I'm trying to tell you.
But here, you're a Virginia guy, so you going to Miami. Okay, now how about guys who were from up north? You went to college for 4 years somewhere. Maybe it was warm.
In the
maybe
mountains.
Yeah,
I went in the mountains.
Right, but all of a sudden, what's in your nature is Richmond, Chesterfield. What nice weather. How about guys who grew up in places where the weather wasn't nice all the time? They going home to play.
Cold weather is cold weather.
Spoiled. you get spoiled. You get spoiled when you go down to South Florida for training camp, preseason, and then you talking about November. You going up to 2 feet of snow and try to play a game. And wind chill, look, with wind chill that's 12 degrees, 5 degrees. I played in that weather.
So you said it doesn't matter where you're from.
It does not. If you from up there, it doesn't matter. Now I see why everybody up there got an attitude, because it's too cold.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's manageable. Playing defense is a little more, I think playing defense is a little more manageable than it is playing offense, for the simple fact that I'm doing most of the attacking and hitting. all offensive guy, it's a little, it's cold. You got to run routes. You got to do certain things. You're taking more punishment than you're dishing as an offensive guy, a skill position guy. Okay, running backs, wide receivers, things like that. As a defensive guy, I'm cold, so I'm gonna go ahead and
lay this lick
know
on
what
you.
let me go ahead and warm up real quick and just lay some hits on you because you ain't gonna want to get hit.
There you
So
go.
let me go ahead and do
Words of
this.
wisdom.
But
Deion Fox
I mean,
talking about with the weather.
Yeah.
Ken.
You ain't trying to catch the ball. You ain't trying to, especially like when I had Drunken Miller. That joker was throwing freaking, bazooka bullets at you. And so you in the cold weather, you say, "Come on!" And then and I was in Atlanta. I'm inside.
That's a beautiful place, right? The inside, the weather's nice. Now it's like you got to go outside. It's 20 degrees, the wind blowing sideways. Alrighty, so Ox and Fox both are taking Buffalo.
Home team. Yep.
Taking Buffalo. All right, Ox, what's
As
the
much
next
as
game?
much as I hate to say it, I think Buffalo is gonna pull this one out because of the elements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the elements.
Here we go, Mike. Yes, they do. Yo, Eagles, are they go fall for the okie doke and looking at Christmas Eve? That's the question. The Eagles got the Bears this week, and then and then Christmas Eve they got them boys.
And the boys we got to talk about the Bears first, but the boys been talking, and Micah Parsons. I know you're a Penn Stater. You had a little bit of something to say. They putting up points on people, but you know what? Yes, it is going to be the game right there. But the Bears game, kind of worried.
Can't look past.
Kind of worried.
Past them. You cannot look past them.
But you know what?
Cannot look past them.
No, they're playing. But the way the Eagles are built, I feel pretty good. Even going down a game, we could lose that one. But I just got the feeling, we might be able to do something. This team might be able to do some damage. So I'm going, maybe just because I'm a homer, I'm going with my Eagles. Shocking. That's a straight up homer move right there. Mr. Fox, who you got?
I'm gonna roll with the Eagles too. I'm gonna roll with the Eagles as well for the simple fact that I think the loss that they took against Washington got them a little bit on edge as far as we can't afford to slip anymore, regardless of whatever. The only way I see them dropping this game is if they start to sit people and rest them for the playoffs. Not play people as much. Because they've been doing pretty good, and I will say this: Hurts has learned how to distribute the ball to a little bit of everybody, but everybody doesn't like the fact that he's distributing the ball to everybody. So if we can get everybody on the same page, say, "Yo, we need all 11 to do this," they'll be fine. Because Smith was a little upset at first that the ball wasn't coming to him as much.
Yeah.
But he can't be that way.
He looked up and said, "I thought it was your boy. I thought we going back to Tuscaloosa."
Right?
But you can't do that. It's like, look, man, bro, they got you double covered. I need to throw it to somebody else. Somebody else is open. And so when they get covered, then I throw it to you. And I'm gonna tell you this: your boy, your running back, what's his name? Sanders? Is his name Sanders?
Yeah.
Sanders. Sanders is nice. I didn't realize who he was until I watched the game. Exactly who he was. He was Saquon's backup at Penn State.
Yeah, he's
at Penn State.
He's gotten some running room, and when they stretch the field, it allows him to do his thing. I feel pretty good with the Eagles squad. So both you guys got my Philadelphia Eagles. Already, Ken Ox and Don. How can people find you out there?
We're at boxsportsgroup.com, Box SG on Instagram, Ken Oxdine at NFLalumni.com, and Ken Ox on all things on social media.
Mr. Deion Fox.
5756foundation.org, at 5756 Foundation on IG, Deion.Fox at NFLalumni.com. Also, Mr. Fox 57 at gmail.com and 5756 Foundation at gmail.com.
All right, folks, this is NFL Talks. Ox and Fox here. Mike King Biz talking to you about the world of football with these NFL alumni. Ken Ox and 9, what's the next game we're going to talk about?
The Falcons and the Saints. Mariota gets demoted and then he quits. Is that did I read that right?
Yeah,
guys?
I think he said, I'm rolling out. But wait a second, hold up before we start killing him. Isn't that what happened to Baker Mayfield? When they say, you're not gonna play, you ain't getting any time, and then we release him.
Now there's a difference between quitting and getting traded, saying trade me.
Yeah.
There's a difference between saying you walking away from it and somebody saying trade me. Baker Mayfield still getting a check.
Right, okay, but didn't Baker Mayfield, they said he wasn't gonna dress, right? And he
He's
said,
still getting the check.
Right, but he says, release me. Let me go. Let me find greener pastures. And next thing you know, he the talk of the NFL. Maybe Mariota says the same thing. I'm not going to get in.
Go about it the same way.
Mariota don't have the flashiness, like the whole big. He ain't the gunslinger type thing that Baker Mayfield is, and he could bring you back from no man's land. But look at the look on De'Aaron Fox's face, which is no, no.
So them quarterbacks, these days quarterbacks, they built different.
I think they are because we've made them that way.
Everybody built different, man.
Yeah,
everybody built different. I mean, you think about it. It's just the game. The game has changed the player.
Yes.
How the game is structured, how the game is put together, how the game is called, the things that they are able to do. And to me, it all started with basketball being able to just go wherever you want to go. Now it's football going wherever you want to go every year.
And that's Von Miller and college.
Like Von Miller left Denver. Yeah. And I was going to that next because it has trickled down. Like, Ken, we're gonna talk about your Virginia Tech Hokies. My nephew, who came out of Highland Springs, went to West Virginia on the full ride. Yeah. Went there. When he got there, the coaching staff that recruited him left, so he stayed there.
Yeah,
left, went to ODU, played at ODU for 2 years, and now hit the transfer portal again, and now he's a Virginia Tech Hokie for his last season. So
he done made the rounds.
Now he was the one that scored the touchdown on the Hokies, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was, and now he's there. So I wish him the best with everything he's doing. Shout out to him, Ali Jennings. Do great things, man. Stay well. Heal up. Do what you got to do. But this transfer portal with all the players all over the nation. It's like free agency in college, just like it's free agency in the league, and these things were not around 10, 15, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago when I was in college, you know what I'm saying? Like it just didn't happen,
right?
We're talking 30 years ago. What transfer portal? What?
What's that? Yeah, right.
And now it's filled. They said there's so many people in the transfer portal this year trying to fight for position to go to the next school so they can be that next draft pick, that next big thing, going to a different school to perform. Same thing in the league. Everybody want to get traded. The difference in the league is that you got to fit underneath that salary cap, and you got to be able to be that name that can produce. Like you said, Mike, got Baker Mayfield that did it, and then you got Mariota that's doing it. Baker, Mariota, they're not the same guy. They're not the same guy.
So it sounds like
go ahead.
With and I saw it that with Mariota that he left either because he got a knee injury and either they didn't want to take care of the knee injury at the Falcons right then, but he wanted to get the knee injury situation all squared. But that's still he's not listed on the injury report for Atlanta. So that's what possibly is crazy with what happened. And like that's craziness that he needed knee surgery, but the Falcons didn't want to say that he was hurt. So that's a whole nother quagmire in itself.
That is the whole idea of, and it brings us right back to the whole betting thing right there, when we're saying, tell us who's hurt. And we're like, all right, fine, we'll put the whole team on IR where everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
And then the league is upset. All right, Ken Oxen, now what's the next game you got?
Lions and the Jets, both fighting this to get into the playoffs.
Okay.
And so
there you go. We're changing the culture. You know, I'm telling you, right there. You know, he's saying to you, if you bring the right people in and set it up, we'll lose some games, you know, that we should have won, but we learn how to start winning.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the Detroit Lions. The Jets, you can only, I mean, they're going to be the JETS Jets forever.
But, yep, White is out, not cleared to play, so Wilson go get the start versus the Lions. So, you know, I see the Lions being there. The Lions defense is playing good, and the offense is playing good enough to win. So
and they're starting to believe that they can win and beat anybody.
Yeah.
And they played well. They played well last week, and did some things that look really good. So those, you know, touchdown or less points that they're losing a game flipped for them.
Yes.
You know, and now they're learning how not to lose by that 5 or 7 or 3 points and flip it and win by that now. So, I mean, you win in December, you usually play in January. So, you know, if they can keep it up, they actually have a shot to get in as well.
Exactly.
There you go. Oxen Fox, this is NFL Talks. Mike King Bears here. Ken Oxen, next game.
Steelers and the Panthers, two teams that's trying to figure it out. And this was crazy. The Steelers, their Rudolph had said that if Pickett is out, you know, they don't want Trubisky in there. So there's some controversy, you know, within that.
Hey, what's that emoji, Ken? What's that emoji?
Right. And I don't think that's an emoji that Mike Tomlin uses.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But that's the one that I'm gonna use just because it's, you know, it's interesting this year. It's been a lot of growing pains this year since Ben left.
Yes.
And they're just gonna have to ride it out. Have to ride it out.
Let me ask you this right here. Did Ben do a disservice to them, or should they have been getting ready so when Ben left, the next person was there and we ain't got to go find the guy? Everybody to me now love the Kobe Bryant story, and you know, it was great, and Kobe was great for us and all that. Kobe, when he left, he got every inch of every dollar he was going to get and left the cupboards bare. Mm-hmm. And they had to ride that out. With Ben, it's just like, all right, Ben is done. Then they're looking up to see who's going to be the next QB. Does Ben or the quarterback who's in place have any responsibility to try and help the next guy get ready? When you're in the national
it depends on your mindset. If you know that you're not going to be around, if you know that you're trying to help groom the team or groom the next guy to get ready, it all depends on what the team has done to you as well. For instance, I'm gonna give you for instance, Aaron Rodgers, okay, in his situation in Green Bay. I can see why he's doing what he's doing and then trying to make sure he can get what he can get and still show that he can do what he can do and get up out of there. Ben, he knew what was going on. However, they rode with him the whole way. Mm-hmm. So I guess he thought, okay, well, when I'm gone, y'all can go ahead and get him ready after I leave. I don't know how much teaching was going on in training camp and during the season while he was there and grooming him to get ready to play because he knew he was leaving.
Is the coach's job to groom for next year, or do guys? So I saw Steph Curry the other day. He was just like, when he got hurt and he was in Philly, and he goes, "I'm just going to trust the process." And he goes, "Oh, being in Philly saying that, hey, no pun intended, because Philly was the place with basketball, trust the process. That guy got fired. Mike Tomlin or any coach, are we trying to groom ourselves for next year, or are we winning right now? Because if I don't win right now, what's my man's name? Nathaniel Hackett. He every time they play, he don't want to answer the phone out the next day because it's like, we need to talk to you for a minute. And next thing you know, he could be gone. It's the coach's job to build something for next year. Is it just to win this year, basically at all costs?
Sometimes I think they miss, because Rudolph, he was a guy that came in, they drafted him, he looked good, he did well for them, but he's not. When you think about quarterback, go back to Jake the Snake, Dion. You remember that? That year, San Francisco should have drafted him to San Francisco versus Jim Druckenmiller. Jim should have been at Miami or at Buffalo, and they drafted him, and they had a hard time after with Garcia, replacing when Garcia started. They luckily got Garcia, but in between those Garcia and Steve Young, they had Jim, and they was trying to replace. And luckily they had Garcia, but they spent that money there. And that was the one thing they didn't do with Pittsburgh, because either they thought they had more time with Ben, and you see these GMs, these presidents, do these things, and they don't find that guy as whatever that scouting team don't do a good job at finding that next replacement for that great. In Miami, how long did it take them to replace Marino? And they still trying to figure him out.
Years.
Yeah.
Years. It took them years. And like you said about San Fran getting Garcia, most people don't remember Garcia came from Canada. Calgary.
Yeah.
He played in Calgary.
And we liked him in Philly. He did some work for us in Philly.
And he was a good mobile quarterback because he was the same way when he was in Canada. I played against him in Canada. When I was with Saskatchewan, he was in Calgary, and he was known for being a mobile quarterback then. But there are different types of quarterbacks, and so you have to go and find the quarterback that fits into your system. That's what we talked about a couple of shows ago, where every player doesn't fit into every system.
Yeah.
And right now, Pickett is trying to fit into this system. And he had some growing pains at the beginning of the season, which, is typical for any rookie because the speed is different. All right. Speed is different. Now you have the team chiming in on what's going on and who they want to be out there on the field with them. And it's because of who they trust.
Yes.
Don't know where that motivation is coming from because we're not in the locker room. But I do know this. Usually if you can't get a team to rally behind you to do something, such as Mr. Irrelevant in San Francisco with what he's been doing.
Yeah.
He's got those guys rallied behind him. So he fit right in, right away. And when you have the other 10 guys on the field fitting right in with you and got your back, it makes your job a lot easier, to be productive.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a situation in Pittsburgh for the rest of this season until they figure out who's going to do what and who they're going to trust to be out there to do what they need to do.
One of the things
it's a lot of trust issues going on.
So they were hot and heavy on Rudolph when he got into the beef with the guys from the Browns. And I thought everybody in Pittsburgh loved him. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, we need to find a new guy. I'm like, what happened to Rudolph? He was a gamer, as they say. He was out there fighting, which you want the quarterback to do sometime. But, all of a sudden, you lose favor with him, and he becomes just, okay, we got to go find the next franchise guy. And maybe Tomlin's looking to find his guy to put a stamp on it because, hey, Ben was Coward's guy. Maybe that's what it is. Ken Oxendine, Dion Fox. This is Oxen Fox NFL Talks on ESPN Richmond with Mike King Biz Radio. All right, Ken Oxendine, next game.
Cowboys at the Jaguars.
Man, am I a Trevor Lawrence fan this week.
Yeah. and he's playing good. 5 games, no interceptions, and 10 touchdowns within those 5 games. So, and I like them.
You know, they also got a shot to go to the playoffs too, right?
And that light bulb's coming on. So, and the
They also
Cowboys,
got a shot to go to playoffs.
yes, they do. They went out. They right in the hunt. So,
And you know what?
They got
Here
a
I
shot
go
to
back
get
to
in.
the and you know Trevor Lawrence looks good at the end of games, not getting rattled. That just shows you the difference with coaching too, and maybe because I'm a homer, and so you know we're gonna give Doug Peterson and some the credit where it comes to that. At the end of games, he looks like we got a shot, and they're starting to win and believe in him. Cowboys, they can put up 40 on whoever, whatever. We're gonna find out if that's the real deal.
and the question is does the Cowboys, it was last week an emotional win for them coming back, and then can that emotional wave ride into going into this week and them not think about that game when then again this is also could be a trap game because what do they got Christmas Eve is they have Philly, so that's the other side of this too.
They never should have been in that spot at the end of that game anyway. They did find a way to win. So at the end, we aren't going to talk about you won by 20 or you won by 1 point. They should have never been. I was just disgusted. On the Mike King is Philly's own here with De'Aaron Fox, Ken Oxendine. Alrighty, Mr. Fox, anything on the Cowboys, sir?
Yeah, they did. They found a way last week. They either found a way to win or the other team found a way to give it up because it should have never come down to that. Like I'm sitting there, I watched the game and was sitting there like, are you kidding me?
That's
But
exactly
I'm gonna
what I
say
was
this.
saying.
I'm gonna say this with I'm saying this on the Jaguars though, and I said this at the beginning of the season. I said with Peterson there, he's going to develop Lawrence. I said, and if he can develop Lawrence, sooner rather than later, we're going to see how well, you know, he's going to play and be able to help the team win. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So I am happy to see that what I said is actually coming to fruition with what's going on with the Jaguars, to where they're at the beginning of the season everybody wrote them off, and all of a sudden they got a shot to go to the playoffs. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to come down, as it always does, who makes the least amount of mistakes. However, Jacksonville can't afford to make a lot of mistakes against the Cowboys because we saw last week
they can put some numbers on you.
They can put some numbers on you, and they take advantage of they capitalize on the other team's mistakes, which is what they did last week.
All right, from the business standpoint, Mr. Fox, is your boy Zeke back? Do you think he's gonna be taking any more time off, or does he like being in the mix?
He likes being in the mix, and I'm gonna tell you, he sat back for a while thinking that, oh, he can't do it without me. He can't do it without me. And then he saw Pollard putting up numbers, putting up 100+ scrimmage yards for like 2 straight weeks. Okay, well, wait a minute. Let me get out here and show I still have a little something, because honestly, I don't think Zeke was really being as serious or as hungry as he was when he first got into the league after he got that contract. He was coming in. He wasn't in the best of shape the whole time. He would give you spurts here and there, and it looks like he was falling off. Then he gets injured where he's not playing, so he's taking his time coming back. And Pollard gets out there, and Pollard's popping, 30 and 40 and 50-yard runs and catching, swing passes and taking them to the house. Okay, well, maybe I do need to step back in here and show that I still have a little something left in the tank, because the way the league is working now, they don't care. Okay, well, you're not being productive, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of you. The only thing that's helping him out is that Jerry loves him.
Yeah, that is true. All right,
Jerry picked him.
Is Mike McCarthy safe for another couple weeks. He always seems like people are just trying to get rid of him.
As long as he does what Jerry said do, he'll be all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of my Deion Fox dropping nuggets of
I mean,
knowledge on that.
I mean, look, you're laughing, but you know that the last two coaches, and I'm including Mike McCarthy, the last two coaches, Mike McCarthy, before that, your boy that's a commentator now,
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett, that was a backup quarterback, used to be the OC, you know, Jerry had more say-so over top of them over what was going on the field. The reason why Jerry and Jimmy didn't get along is because Jimmy was like, look, let me coach and do my thing. Jerry didn't let him do that. So, I mean, and Jimmy talks about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy talks about it now. He said, yeah, we're still good. We still, we still understand each other. I got respect for the man, but I just couldn't do it because I need to do my job on the field.
Very quickly, is OBJ going there? Ken Oxendine.
He could, just for because Jerry Jones, he want that media. He liked the attention. And so, because OBJ, I don't see him being ready. It's been a year now. A lot of medicine has changed some stuff, but what are they going to be the gap of him outside of everything in the headlines?
There you go, Mr. Fox. Is he going there?
I mean, if he does, it'll just be for the end of this season with an option to re-sign him next year. And if he thinks that they have a shot to help them move along in the playoffs to get to the big game, then yeah, he'll probably sign him just to have another threat. The fact that you have OBJ on your offense, the threat of having him there, the possibility of the plays he can make, there's a possibility that he may go ahead and do that. But like I said, it'll just be to finish out this season. And then depending on that, will determine his future if he's going to be in Dallas next year.
Here you go, Ken Oxendine, next game.
All right, we got the Chiefs and the Texans. This is a blowout.
They're good for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, we don't even need to talk about that one right there. That might be 45 zip.
Yeah.
All right.
And you just heard it from Mike King, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know what's gonna happen? Houston wins 7-3.
Right.
Exactly. That's because you have to play the game. You have to play the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And and it's like I said, the ball could take a crazy bounce. You could have a double doink, and next thing you win like my team did a couple years ago. Or you could just be standing there watching them run over you. But it would seem that everybody's going with KC on this one. All righty, Ken Oxendine, Deion Fox. This is NFL Talk with Oxen Fox. All right, Ken, what's the next game?
You got the Cardinals and you got the Broncos. Murray out with the ACL. And then you got Russell is still in the concussion protocol. So it's going to be two losing teams playing each other right now. So, and that Broncos, I think Broncos without Russell, they may end up play better because, that quarterback don't have that pressure on him. So, yeah.
All righty, Mr. Fox, your ideas?
I'm sitting here listening to Ken, and I started giggling and smiling because he said two subpar teams playing each other, two subpar teams this year playing each other. And the fact that Russell, is out with concussion protocol, Russell hasn't been having a good year anyway, whether he was in and out. So it's just going to be, it's not going to be an exciting game to watch.
There you go.
So, you have to be a diehard fan to watch that game. It'll be one of those games that somebody from the network come on and say, okay, we're going to take you to another location, to take you to a more competitive game.
It's like they cut my Eagles off last week. I'm like, man, how disrespectful.
Well, your Eagles was blowing them out by 30 plus points.
With different
in the third quarter. I know you wanted to finish watching the blowout.
Every inch of it. Every inch of it. Alrighty, Ken Oxen now. What's the next game?
Next game is the Pats versus the Raiders. Both teams has a chance to make the playoffs. But if the Pats win, they got a better chance than the Raiders. But but they both need people to do stuff in front of them as well. So I like that. I like the said it's out in LA. I like the Raiders in this game because it's in LA.
No, wait, it's in
Yeah, the
Vegas.
Pats having to travel across the country.
My bad, in Vegas.
Does it change it any because they're in Vegas, or it is what it is?
You don't have to deal with the elements, man. I'm telling you, you stay in those warm climates, and you got to travel up to Boston, Massachusetts to play outside in that weather. It's a difference when you coming from Vegas where you had on shorts the day before and a t-shirt, and then you got on a puff jacket Parker with a skull cap and a scarf. What'd you say, Ken?
It's at Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's a difference when you playing at home, or you have to leave Vegas and you have to go to to a place where the weather is not the best. So
it's bad when you're in Buffalo and your neighbors got to shovel you out so you can go to your game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is a true town. I mean, I know Philly fans go hard.
We ain't like that.
Buffalo.
No,
I think Buffalo topped y'all this year with that one. I
we
think
not
Buffalo
doing
topped it.
No, we're not doing that. No, I got to be work tomorrow, man. I ain't got time to be out there. I'll be out there shoveling snow for you and maybe pull my back out. All right, Ken Oxendine, next game.
We got the Titans at the Chargers. Titans are going down. I think the Chargers, they're playing good. They're playing, both of them playing for the playoff spot, but I think the Chargers got a little more steam and engine.
What happened to the Titans year? It was going along.
Well, they started to figure out how to stop the run, but I think just your quarterback play isn't helping, because that quarterback, you think about what Fitzpatrick, how he played, he could win you 4 or 5 games. And that's the quarterback play for the Titans, it's not doing it.
There you go, Mr. Fox.
I feel the same, and then you're trying to jump everything on Henry's shoulders, and all they're doing is stacking the box with 7-8 people now and saying, okay, well, we're not going to let Derrick Henry beat us.
You can't stiff arm everybody, in other words.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and stack the box and put the weight on the quarterback to make him beat us. And they haven't proven that the quarterback can do it yet. So that's their dilemma. They held Henry, to what, 30 yards rushing, under 30 yards rushing last week, around 30 yards rushing last week. So all the next team is doing is watching that film to see what that team did to make sure they contain him this week. So, unless they come out with something different to get the ball down the field, it's going to be another long game for the Titans this week.
There you go. Ken Oxendine, De'Aaron Fox, NFL alumni here on ESPN Richmond. Mike King. This is 106.1. All right, Mr. Oxendine, what's the next game?
Cincinnati at the Bucks. Brady is the armor has been falling off piece by piece each week. He's been finding ways to win some games. But in the same breath, Cincinnati, they're right now they're getting in the playoff form.
And which could be scary for everybody.
Yeah. So, it's going to be interesting this game. You are going out of warm you're going out of cold into the warm. Is that going to play a factor? I think it's going to be in Cincy's favor. You got both Chase. Chase is healthy now, playing at a good level. So yeah, I like Cincinnati in this game.
Mr. Fox.
It's going to be interesting, the fact that they playing in Tampa after the terrible loss they had last week. I don't know if it was traveling to the West Coast or what it was, but that loss against San Fran, and as fast as it took place, honestly, I like a snapback game for Tampa, just because, and the reason why I say that is because, it's humiliating to get beat like you got beat last week, to play as bad as you got, to play as bad as you did, to get beat by as many points as you did, and not produce. There was a
Yeah.
whole lot of soul searching going on this past week to say, yo, we got to show that this is not us. And they've shown that they can win a game. I'm not taking anything away from the Bengals. Okay. You contain the two wideouts, okay, play a cover two, have help over top, man underneath, you have a shot. You have a shot. Okay. And then protect Brady. I mean, I don't like Brady, but Tampa in this game to come back after what happened to him last week because they got a chip on their shoulder.
Mhm.
I would think they would have a chip on their shoulder and come back and want to play better and pull this game out. Not going to be a high scoring affair.
Oh, this ain't
Not
gonna be
going
a
to be a
track
high
meet.
scoring affair.
It's not gonna be that.
It's not. I don't think it's going to be a track meet. I don't think it's going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be a defensive game, unless mistakes are made. If Brady start throwing picks, Cincinnati going to blow them out.
There you go. All righty.
If
And I love boxing, and they say boxers get old overnight in the ring. People are talking about Brady got old overnight. He stayed a year too long drawing picks. But Mr. Fox, sometimes you say if you don't have the horses and he don't have the parts, it exposes you as an old man, which you could have sort of dodged around that. So you're saying he might have another
he
one
could
or
have.
two in him.
He might have another one or two in him, but just like you said, and like I said earlier, in the year, he doesn't have the same weapons around him that he had last year or the year before that.
Mhm. Yeah.
2 years ago he won the Super Bowl. Last year he went to the playoffs. He does not have the same weapons. He three main weapons that he had are no longer there. So when you're trying to work, it's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. The weapons he had before are no longer there. So now all of a sudden they dump on the quarterback. Well, he's too old.
Yeah.
He's too this. He's too that. But when you put weapons around the quarterback, they'll look like all world. They'll look like all world. And I can't. As much as I'm not a Brady fan, however, I'm a fan of what he was able to do winning all those Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock anybody's hustle. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's done
Yeah.
something that no other quarterback in the league has ever done, and you're gonna have days where you're not gonna look like the superstar that you once were. Everybody has a bad day. Now, if
Yeah.
those bad days becomes, bad days,
Yes.
ending out the season, then yeah, it's time to hang up your cleats and move on because you don't have around you what you need. You don't have the offensive line that's taking care of you. You don't have the weapons around you to get a ball to make those plays. Because I guarantee you, if Brady has a McCaffrey, a Deebo Samuels, he if you give him one or two more people right now, half of those games they lost, they win.
Yeah.
And people are talking about another year for him.
Well, I don't know about that. It depends on what they
If he had
give,
the
what
pieces.
he has. If they give him new tools, if they give him new tools to put in the belt, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it don't look like that. All righty, Ken now what's next?
It's last game of the week's Giants and the Commanders. The Commanders got the tiebreaker against the Giants, but the Giants, they and it's in Washington. I can see the Commanders. I like this game against the Giants and on the side of the Commanders.
Mr. Fox?
Now you know who I'm going with, man. You know who I'm going with.
I didn't think you were gonna be like a straight up homer like me. I thought you were better than that.
It's not even about that. It's about that overtime tie. In New York, I think they went back and saw what they did and saw that they did not finish the job. They had the lead, they were up, and they didn't. You got to keep your foot on the net and keep it going.
Yeah.
And now they're playing at home. I think Heineke, they've had a week off. They've had a chance to heal up some, you know, and so hopefully, you know, they can get out there and perform, and they have a few key players back that they need to help them get past the Giants this time instead of ending in a tie.
Did,
And right now, what Washington is like in the top 8 slots. They number what 6? They're the 6th team now. They moved up a slot,
Yeah.
and for the playoff. So you know, and then they win if they you know they if they win Sunday night, you know, it solidifies that spot for them.
is Heineke playing his way into, because he wins games, is he playing his way into having a comfortable position in the NFL?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. However, I think he'll be a starter until they find somebody that they think can be a starter. And then Heineke is definitely a strong backup. Like he's definitely a very strong number 2. Right now, he's still proving himself as a starter. And I say that for the simple fact he still needs more experience. He's winning games, he's learning, but he's also making certain mistakes that still keep certain people and certain coaches having a question mark over top of their head, you know, with certain things. All right. Because he's still making certain decisions, and it's a teaching process. And he's only going to learn that the more time he gets and the more experience that he has taking snaps in game situations. So yes, he's a winner. He's learning how to win. But there's been a couple games that certain decisions that he's made has, you know, cost the game at the end of the game. He tweaks that. That's the difference between, you know, 2 or 3 wins right now, just this season. But he's learning and he's getting better as the season goes on. So, like I said before, win in December, you play in January.
There you go. Ken Ox and De'Aaron Fox. Was that it, Ox?
Monday night. That was that last Monday night. You got and Green Bay and LA. Yeah, it's 2 games that Green Bay.
Where you playing?
They're at Green Bay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Elements, baby. Elements.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 24. I think it's supposed to be 24.
That night. Hold on. Is that the high? Is that the high for the day, or is that what's supposed to be game time?
I think that's game time. So you already know.
Game time. Look, with a wind chill. With a wind chill of about 12.
All righty. So the logistics of it, you know, you're LA. You're going to play somewhere cold, gentlemen. When do you realize how cold it is? Okay, so you get off the airplane, you go inside, maybe you go to the hotel, you pick your head out, whatever. When do you realize, oh man, it is freezing out here?
Walk through.
Yeah.
Walk through. That's when you realize really how cold it is. Walk through. Walk through. And don't let it start snowing or any type of precipitation come down, because it changes the whole thing, because you got guys that's been playing there the whole time, and then you got guys that's coming from a warm climate and they're trying to layer up to have stuff on to keep warm. And you go out there and, you know, it's going to take you a little while to get into the groove, you know. So, you know,
so what happens when
your fingers and your toes
are done?
Yeah.
So what happens when your guys stand on the side and you aren't playing and it's 0 degrees outside? Like, what do? You're frozen.
Yeah.
Well, you're actually sitting next to those remember those
heaters.
blowers, Ken? They got better ones now. They got better ones now than what we had. But they got those heat blowers that you sit near that, and the heated benches that got the little slots by the feet you stick your heels in.
Yeah.
And then they got the little slots right under the seat that you stick your fingertips in. That it's warm underneath there, so your butt warm, and they got the coats. So you got all that stuff. So they're trying to stay warm. Yeah. But they're trying to get on the little exercise bike near the blower so that the warm air is hitting them, so they try to stay a little bit warm. They have better stuff now. It's been 25 years since, you know, it's been over 25 years since my rookie year. So, you know, I remember those type of things in cold weather. You know, it's been over 20 years since I played. And I've seen some of the stuff they have on the sideline. So they have certain things to try to keep them warm. But, you know, it's still not the same. Like playing in that type of weather, you know, it tests you.
So
It
it's
will
not
test
those
you.
little warm packets that you see at Kroger or the Dollar Tree.
No, that was when I played. That was back in the '90s when I played. You had about 5 or 6 of them in your gloves, but they still didn't do nothing for your fingertips. They just kept your palms warm and sweaty. They ain't do nothing for your fingertips. Use,
Yeah.
you know,
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you can expect here. Cutting information like that on the differences between back now, as opposed to, when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Ken Oxen, De'Aaron Fox, with all of the
dinosaurs.
and with dinosaurs. That's what time I'm in when they first started NFL. The highlights. All right, so one of my key De'Aaron Fox, Ken Oxen, how can people find you guys out there?
Ken Oxendine, all things Ken Oxendine, boxsportsgroup at gmail.com, boxgroup.com, box SG, Ken Oxendine at NFL.com, Vice President of NFL Alumni Richmond.
Otherwise known as AKA Mr. Relevant. All righty. De'Aaron Fox, how can people find you out there?
Mr. Fox 57 at gmail.com. Mr. Fox 57 at 5756foundation.org, 5756foundation.org, at 5756 Foundation on Instagram, and De'Aaron.Fox at NFLalumni.org. Out there in the community doing stuff, reach out to us. Ken's my VP for the alumni as well. So just reach out to us. We love doing stuff in the community, love making the community better, giving back to the kids, community, and family. So let's do what we got to do to keep it going straight.
That's right. That's what these guys are doing. Ken Oxen, I remember hitting me up about that thing you were talking about that's coming up. Anything we can do here to help? We use the platform for help, and we always say business helps society be better. These two gentlemen are doing that. One of Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network. This is NFL Talk with Oxen Fox. Gentlemen, peace. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks now.
There it is.
Take care.
Guys.